Good evening, this is Nerd is the Human, and welcome to this AI Battle Royale in Rome Total War. And this time we've selected Specialist Infantry for an 8-faction Battle Royale. I've even thrown in a few extra units, my Amazonian Infantry and Barbarian Invasions Priventores. This is possible thanks to a little bit of modding, and I do have guides for both creating your own units and adding them in from the DLC. So should you want to join in with the modding, then do follow the link in the description after this video. As ever though, for today's battle we have 3,000 denarii to spend. Amazonian Infantry here, this is who I'll be playing as. And when I say I'll be playing as, yes we will be, just letting the AI get on with it, so nonsense of course. For the Scipii we have the Arcani, a good old fun old-fashioned unit. Quite nonsensical in a historical point of view, but they should be fun to see on the battlefield. Not an awful lot of men though, it should be said. As for Germania, we have the Berserkers who, yes, of course, failed to actually win in their heats when we previously had the Barbarian Infantry only, but I think they will certainly be not necessarily hot favourites. They could be a little bit too aggressive for their own good, but certainly they are going to rip people apart. And so the Bretons, we have some Druids here, generally a little bit of a support unit, but they do have some decent stats on them. As for the Gauls, I've given them the Night Raiders from the Gauls, simply because the colour scheme isn't too far off, and I did want to include these guys as well, so that's had a little bit of modding as well. Again, more guides for that on the channel if you're interested in that sort of thing. As for Spain, we have the Bull Warriors. They are a little bit nonsensical, so I thought we would throw those into this here battle. They can certainly mix it with some of the best of them. Only actual price for 2 there. It's a bit unusual, isn't it? Yes, as for the Junior, we have the Priventores from Barbarian Invasion. An awful lot cheaper than Arcani, as you might well notice. Plenty of them. They could be a little bit of a wildcard option. And as for SPQR, they have themselves the Gladiators. We've got one of each here, and we got the Mamellos as Gold Shield 2 experience. So yeah, let's see who's going to make it out on top here today on the Scottish Highlands map. Do choose and cheer for your own units in the comments below. And as ever, we are actually on medium difficulty, so there are no buffs or debuffs for the units. So let's get into battle and see how the AI fares. Into battle we go then, with one small difference, which is that I chose to be the Germans and not the rebels. That's merely because of well, the game certainly seems to like to crash when we do this, and I've realised what generally happens is yeah, when the unit is routing and they leave the battlefield, that's when the game decides to break. So to prevent that, I picked a unit that A, is very likely to be there at the end, and B, well, certainly from my first take, they seem to like to chase people off the map in their berserk state, which means that, yeah, they basically stay alive later into the battle because they basically kill one faction and then run off into the sunset. So hopefully we'll at least stay alive long enough to be able to watch the battle finish. But you can probably imagine how it started last time, which was these guys ripping us asunder, which is basically what happened to the rebels. We were killed very, very quickly as them. So let's see what action takes place. We've got the Gladiators here. Oh guys, you could have been an interesting dice roll, but you're going to find yourself in big, big trouble. One thing I think is very interesting on this is the fact that the AI seems to act differently under my AI assistance as opposed to general AI. It seems to be more aggressive with the enemy AI than it is with my own. Look, we're not even charging in here. It's very strange indeed. No one has actually engaged yet. Now, in terms of favourites here, you've got to say, apart from the Berserkers, who would it be? I'm not 100% sure, but let's go and get into our lovely, lovely Amazonians. We're taking on the Gallic Night Raiders. These guys are an interesting one. I certainly think, yeah, probably the strongest unit itself might well be, yeah, the Spanish over there, who seem to have taken out some of these Gauls who have split themselves up. That's a really poor start for them, but in come the Druids into the rear of the Amazonians. Oh, that's awfully good fun. Turn around, ladies, turn around. Looks like our Berserkers up. Oh, that was good timing. A proper scream there from Steve the Roman, and that has annihilated that faction almost instantaneously. And come the Priventores, whatever kind of dodgy kind of unit they're supposed to be. And they're being swept aside as well. It's hardly surprising, but is anyone going to do enough damage to these guys? That's really the question. I have no control over any of this anymore, which is another reason this is actually quite a good faction for me to be picking on this occasion. because I have no control once I press Berserk. So there we are, that's just what's happening now. I don't have to repress it if we ever gather ourselves back. Yeah, they look like dogs in the distance there, the Romans, didn't they? Privatores, fake dogs that they are. Oh, we need to do more Berserkers videos here on the channel. They are excellent. As for the Arcani, they've actually been shot by the archers, which is interesting. Yeah, the Arcani are fighting against the Druids. The missiles in the rear is certainly not helping them out there. The Arcani don't have much to defend against arrows, though. No shields, unlike most of the infantry here. You can get them in Testudo if you do a bit of modding. That's another video we got here on the channel. But the Arcani certainly could be an interesting one, but I don't suspect they are... I don't think they have the numbers to win this. I did decide to leave, by the way, these arrows on the Amazonians because, well, some of the units will have javelins, like the Spanish bull warriors over there. And to be honest, the AI tends to be quite aggressive. Another advantage of moving this rebel unit over to the AI means that they'll probably just charge in a fair amount. They'll quite happily be engaged in hand-to-hand. They won't really do too much getting out of the way. They'll just stand here and fight now that they're stuck in battle. By the way, the Spanish doing very, very well. Only 2 units. These bull warriors are tough, damn it. They are probably what ends up facing these berserkers. Be interested to see, yeah, how well they did 1v1. We haven't lost that much. We are slightly knackering ourselves chasing things down, but all things considered, who's in good shape right now? Because everyone else is pretty much bleeding themselves dry against each other, while the Germans... yeah, the Berserkers are looking very solid indeed, but let's see if our Amazonians over here can take out the Scipii. It's an interesting little fight this. The Amazonian infantry are doing a pretty darn good job against the Scipii. Hacked down those Arcani by and large, and well, they took a fair bit of damage to the Druids already. Yeah, looks like the rebels are going to do a pretty darn good job here, and if they don't run in quickly, they're just going to get shot down. Indeed, that is what's happened to quite a few of them. There are more rebels around. Looks like the Gauls have been routed by the Spanish. Looks like the Britons have been routed by, I think, the Arcani. And with everyone else gone to the Germans, who are somewhere behind that rock. We're hiding somewhere around there. It looks like it's going to be Spanish and rebels taking on the Germanic berserkers. Now, it's really just a question of how knackered the berserkers are. And, well, they're not going to rout, are they? That's the thing about these guys. As we had in a recent quiz on the channel community section, yeah, these guys have not only the highest morale in the game, but obviously in Berserk mode, they are unbreakable, which as a general rule, I don't like as an ability. But I think for the odd fun unit like this, it's okay. They're a bit ridiculous. Normally you shoot them down. That might actually be where the archers of the Amazonians are at an advantage here. Looks like the Spanish might only have the 1 unit left remaining. So, well, once everyone's chased each other down, we'll see what's left to fight. Interesting point here then, the Berserkers chase off the other Spanish unit, and what do they turn their attention to? It's to Spain. Are Spain going to hang around though? The 2 units that are left, the Amazonian Infantry and the Spanish Bull Warriors, both of them do have missiles. Now, whether they have any left is a different matter. Almost certainly the rebels will. But the Spanish, I don't know. They seem to be walking slowly towards the rebels over time here. But the Berserkers are going to chase them down. That could be very interesting indeed. I'm not sure I'm too fond of this scenario, but it looks like the Spanish and the rebels are going to meet each other in the rain here towards the centre of the map. The Germans got distracted by the Scipiones fleeing. Eventually they will arrive on the scene here, but are these guys going to be distracted in combat? There is 1 rebel left at the rear. I don't know how many men, or women I should say, are in that unit. We should probably go check. It's not a lot, actually, not a lot. Here comes the big final clash, or probably the penultimate clash, because what you really want is a result here so that whoever's left can take on the Germans properly. Looks like actually looks like the archers are actually doing some good job at being archers, which might work very nice in their favour, because yeah, a few shots are going to come on him. Don't know they'll do an awful lot of damage, but they'll do some. Here comes some hand-to-hand combat with, oh look at that, some flanking archers against the non-shield side. Excellent tactics by my unit. Oh, lovely stuff, and that's routed them pretty darn quickly. That is, well, that is impressive work. I mean, I think I think the infantry did a decent job anyway. These infantry, by the way, when we used them in our Roxolani campaign, weren't that tough, really. They can do some good damage. They're nice and versatile, but they don't usually rip things apart too much. They're doing a pretty darn good job. Looks like it's going to be the rebels taking on the berserkers at the very end. The music is ominous as ever on Rome Total War, and it is now coming down to this little showdown. It is the berserkers taking on the Amazonians with Steve, slightly bald patchy Steve, it should be said, standing over there. This is exactly though what you want to take on the berserkers. We've got some arrows, and that can probably do some excellent work. Can it do enough though? That's the question. There are though units in reserve. They haven't arrived yet, and as arrows that's going to be extra effective, I would suggest. So how is this all going to work? How are you just impetuous again? Did they lose their heroicism? Oh, that's a bit interesting, isn't it? Right, well, for some reason the Amazonians are charging on in and they've turned their backs. The Germans have turned their backs to the Amazonians. They are terrified, but to be honest, they probably should just get on with killing them. They are down to very low amounts. That's the general gone. Steve the Barbarian is down, and can my Amazonians do this legit? Not even shooting them down, just fighting them hand to hand. They're not in berserk mode anymore. For whatever reason, they refuse to go into berserk and they're getting hacked down. They're routing, no, they've gone berserk instead. Okay, well, there's a little bit of berserk going on, but it's a little bit late actually. There's only 3 of them that are remaining. 2 smaller units of Amazonians are coming on in. Now the berserk, they're doing a little bit better. A little poke in the chest, but he's gone. Well done, Steve. It's lovely work. In fact, we'll just rename them Paula for many reasons that you might know if you're here for the live streams on the channel. Flaming missiles into the back of the Germans now. Oh, toasty German for dinner. And they are running away from the Amazonians. It just looks like they're fleeing the battlefield at this point. I don't know what they're chasing after or where they're going. It's all very bizarre. In case you think this looks like a absolute massive victory for these ladies here, they got massacred on the original play I did. They got themselves completely slaughtered by a mixture of different factions, to be honest. But obviously the game crashed, so they got themselves a second chance at it. And maybe, just maybe, that slight change of AI between the player has made a little bit of a difference here. And it is always just a little bit of a dice roll. You never really know how it's all going to play out. But it looks like the Amazonians are going to come in for the final victory here. And you know what? They're a fun unit. I've basically just taken the Amazonian chariot and just plonked them onto their feet. So, you know, there's nothing too ridiculous here. Their stats aren't obscene. You can have a quick look at them here if you want. My very crusty little thumbnail picture there. Yeah, 12, 16. They've obviously got some very nice abilities thrown into it as well. But we'll see if the Germans can do something here. There's always a chance with berserkers. There's not a huge amount of them. It looks like the infantry are charging in. I was trying to press play there, but it's an instant rout for them. And there we are. Berserkers have been conked out there by the rebels. It says defeat, but I think we all know in our deepest of hearts that this is a great victory for the rebels, and we should all be very proud of our ladies here. That is all for now then. Thank you for joining me on this AA only affair. You can of course support the channel by becoming a member here or on Patreon, by liking and subscribing, and also by getting involved in the comments section. I hope you will join us next time. There are of course several of our modding videos linked in the description below. We do feature those in these battles sometimes, so do go look at them as well and see if you enjoyed that part of the channel as well. But I hope you will join me next time. I will leave you for now. I'm Tanoz the Human. Thank you friends, and tally-ho. Suffice to say, I could be doing a better job of, you know, not burning down my own city. That's the kind of hit we won. Let it not be said that our Emperor doesn't lead from the very front to hack down the peasants. This is about to go horrendously wrong. It's absolutely fine. It just gives these guys a reminder to maybe aim better next time.